long time no see. I don't know if you can tell any difference in where I am today. This is actually, I'm back at the clinic, so good to see you from here. I did change a little bit of what I was going to do today, of course, as if we are not prepared with uncertainty yet, but there were so many questions which came in from everybody on the topic that I had posted, which was quite an interesting one, which said leaving the comfort zone. And then of course I was going to throw in something else if I had time, but I'm actually going to do everything different. So bear with me while we go through this. For all of those who are saying hello and hi, sorry cannot see, but hi and hello to everybody out there. So of course, Shishir, my dear friend and brat, if you're seeing this, I'm going to start with your question, which said, why the constant hype to leave comfort zone, push yourself, grow? Sounds familiar, I don't know who's been telling you all this. Why is being comfortable so detrimental? Comfort has been made into a bad thing. Why? And also please give your views on why one can't be comfortable and grow at the same time. Being miserable has been made into an industry to sell dreams. I like what you had written. So let's get on with that. So I want to actually introduce the concept of leaving the comfort zone into the growth mindset and also resilience. And the reason I'm saying I'm introducing it because when I was planning the session, I realized I wanted to make it interactive, to make it reflective, to make it activity based. So more on that later. But today I'm just going to talk about the concept and then I'll tell you what's coming up next. To answer Shishir's question first, I don't think comfort zone's been given, it's not got a bad rap, let me start with that. But let's start with look at the last 3-4 months for all of us. There's something new that we are doing, something challenging that's come our way. And at times we are nudged outside that comfort zone because it's uncomfortable. We have to accept challenges that come our way. We have to face failures, we have to face mistakes, and all of that does step outside our comfort zone. I don't know if for those of you who are watching, I had shared an infographic about a few hours ago which talked about those concentric circles of comfort zone, fear, learning and growth. If you can just pull that up, that'll help actually. When I say, and I don't mean it as a euphemism that it's good to have a growth mindset. To have a growth mindset, you have to have that basic potential. But what I talk about growth, I mean we need to translate it into action. And action often comes with things like persisting in times of challenges, persisting through mistakes, persisting through failures, and of course we all have a relationship around that as well. So having just a growth mindset isn't the full story. I want us to see it in action. And honestly, trust me, I know we are all sick of maybe webinars we are attending and talks like this, but I am not going to talk much about the pandemic in this issue. It's more about maybe looking at what I'm talking about in that context as well. So in that sense, that tool, if you look back, it's these concentric circles which talks about comfort zone, fear, learning and growth, and it shows this arrow piercing towards the growth one. Why? And I don't have a problem with the comfort zone. I have loved it while I've lived with a lizard in my office space because I haven't done much. I have shooed it out and that's my comfort zone. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That comfort zone is where we feel the most safe and we feel in control. Life seems good, it's predictable, it's very little to be afraid or worried about. There's a low risk of failure or rejection. We know exactly what works, what doesn't work. We know what to expect. However, and I want you to, that's where I'm coming up to the reflective point, minimal, and I'm not saying no learning or growth happens when we are in our comfort zone. Maybe we are compromising on our learning and growth, and that's for each of us to reflect on, honestly. I know when I started these FB Lives in March, man, it seems forever ago, I said this is the first time I've been pushed out of my comfort zone because I hated coming in front of the camera. I never liked speaking to a solo, stuff like that. But it's nudged me, and I think over the last few months, I hope I've gotten better with it. We rely on things in that comfort zone to do things over and over again. It's repetitive, it's pattern, it's easy, it's comfortable. When we are faced with a situation, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that, and we'll ask, and I want questions to start coming in so that we'll talk about that. For us to learn and grow, and again, I don't want you to make that mistake, we can't grow in the comfort zone. We often actually extend our comfort zone into the growth zone, and that's what I'm talking about. We do step into that fear zone once in a while, which is far less comfortable. Trust me, it is the most distressing bit of this growth mindset when we are faced with that fear of what ifs, or what will happen. We don't know what to expect. Things are not in our control. We cannot build on our previous experiences because it's new stuff that's being thrown out at us, and maybe you're able to relate to all that I'm saying. And that new path is often paved with that uncertainty. So of course we try to avoid that space, right? I will try to avoid going into that room that has the lizard, but it's got all the sarees I need to wear to work, so I may just wear scruffy jeans and come. But I've compromised on something. I know it's a silly example, but I'm just saying, reflect on some deeper examples you have. We will make excuses to not go beyond that fear zone because it's distressing. And most of the times I'm talking to people in terms of why are we so afraid of emotions coming by? Why can't emotions be embraced and worked through? And I'm telling you that when you're on the other side, you know that you've been in charge. Even if we do decide to leave the comfort zone, we don't know what to do, how to manage. The uncertainty grips us and we're like, you know what, let's get back into that comfort zone. So back we go. And the fear zone, again, I will say, is the most challenging part because that's where all the thoughts, emotions rise up, make us uncomfortable, and we'll be like, let's push back. But if you muster the courage, you learn to endure that fear zone, you come on to the other side and you start learning, you start developing new skills. So maybe I became more comfortable with speaking to a camera. You know, I learned how to know where to look, I learned how exactly to prep. Like now I know that I don't want it to just be a one-way dialogue, I want it to be interactive, I want it to be reflective. We learn, we persist, we take up challenges, and when we make it to that learning zone, we actually extend our comfort zone. So Shishir, when you say, do we not learn in the comfort zone? We do, but again, you're just extending that comfort zone to take on a broader repertoire of things you may have avoided because you were afraid, or maybe there was that anxiety, and we begin to feel comfortable in a previously uncomfortable experience. So that's what happens in the learning zone. When we stay long enough in the learning zone, then we begin to experience that growth. So again, look at what a situation has done. It's made us become aware of our experiences, of how we've overcome challenges, new skills we've learned which we wouldn't have learned had we not had we stayed in the comfort zone. Again, think back to all of you, those of you who've attended all the FP Lives, think back to those what if questions. So one of the ways I ask people is, when you come out on the other side and I have you reflect on how many of those what if thoughts came true, you'll be like, none, and I'll be like, exactly. So those what if thoughts throw us back in the comfort zone, but then when you have that courage to go ahead, you'll realize it wasn't so bad, but that situation didn't show up or that prediction didn't come true. So we extend and we grow. You learn stuff about yourself which you may not have known, that I had it in me to draw up a resilience plan, and I know I had thrown that in last time in the comment section saying, maybe I will start having you reflect on how to draw up a resilience plan. You've conquered obstacles, you've developed a pathway, you've identified a new goal that you worked towards now because you've suddenly expanded that zone of yours. You're not just stuck in that red zone which is self-limiting, and you just expanded. I have seen that in practice, and I know it sounds easy a lot. Somebody may say, but it's so theoretical, can we put it in practice? And I have experiences which Simran, I know you've shared, but I'm gonna reserve that because that's something I honestly want to share, because I think the experience I had somebody reflect on in terms of extending from the comfort to the growth, it needs to be again kind of heard about. Let me give you an example, and like I said, I'm not going to talk about COVID yet. Imagine somebody who has a fear of public speaking, right? And so they've always avoided talking in situations, and suddenly a meeting comes up unexpected, have to speak. Now, in that fear zone, before they go into that meeting, it's like that presentation, it's like butterflies in the stomach, heart pounding, self-critical thoughts, I'm not smart enough, what if I make a fool of myself, what if I don't make sense, but because that person has to do it, does it, realizes it's not so bad, has learned something, maybe has acquired a new skill set, and then starts building. So imagine again that initial nudge out of that, and how somebody develops, may start taking coaching for presentation skills, hones up skills, and then starts public speaking, broadens personal and professional opportunities that come our way. So we may not, so of course when we are in a comfort zone, we choose to see those restrictions, saying, oh, it's okay, I don't want to see, I don't have that ambition, I don't want to do that. But then is our mind throwing up those things because we don't want, we may feel uncomfortable stepping out? And so that's where, because again, like I said, one of the primary reasons I wanted to talk about this is that oftentimes people think that they growth can't happen without learnings, about failings, about mistakes, and about failures. You have to give yourself that space to grow with all of that. So please make that an ally and not something to be afraid about. I'm going to answer, okay, so here's, and so when I talk about, now let me actually talk about resilience as well, and then we'll come to questions, and then I'll tell you what my plan is, yeah. What do I mean by resilience? And I know we've spoken about stress, we've spoken about anxiety, we've spoken about work from home, burnout, all of that in these past few months, frustrations of the lockdown. I'm saying right now, I would like us, all of us collectively, to build our ability to bounce back from adversity. And it is more and more traumatic, more and more painful. Working from home is more comfortable, but again, we are all having our own stories around that. So resilience means whenever you're faced with a stressor, how do you psychologically, mentally, emotionally come back to equilibrium? You've dealt with the stress, you've come back. It is something which is not a personality trait alone. A lot of people think that resilience is a personality trait. It's actually a learnable set of skills and attitude and behavior. So it's not something which you can't acquire. It means actually drawing on your inner experiences, reflecting on how can you draw up your own support systems, your ability to be persistent and tenacious. Again, can we step out of the comfort zone, become more resilient, focus on more growth? So in a way, it is kind of goes hand in hand. Here's what I was coming up with. And this is just honestly 5 minutes before I was supposed to go live with this. I thought, it's kind of just, I'm talking to all of you. It's lovely to have you there. But I wanted this to be more meaningful and learning based for you guys. So what I was thinking was, I'm actually going to open this up to, and I know you may be sick of webinars, but please don't sign up if you're sick of it. I want this to be reflective, I want this to be interactive, I want this to be learning outcome based. I want your questions to be there, which is more participative. So what I was thinking was, after having introduced this, and again, the webinar or whatever, the conversation, our interaction, I won't use the word webinar, will be exactly how to draw those. So Kunal had asked, let me answer his, please tell us mind hacks on how to leave the comfort zone. That's exactly what that conversation will entail, where I will pose reflections, I will have you come up, it will be interactive, it will be an activity based, it will be learning based, where I will pose scenarios, have you reflect and have a discussion around it. So in a way, the mind itself is prohibiting us from stepping out of the comfort zone. So how do you make mind your ally? How do you reason with that and develop that motivation and ability to step out? So that is what I'm thinking, that maybe on Tuesday around the same time, I'll open this up to a Zoom platform where all of us, whoever wants to sign up, I'll post a Google link. You guys sign up, I'll send out the details for that. At least it'll be more structured, I'll be able to go in depth. You have individual reflections, questions can come up. I would rather have it as an hour-long conversation than just a one-way where I won't even get feedback from how you're processing this and how you're reflecting, and I don't want that opportunity to go waste. So that's something please watch out for. I think the earliest I'll be able to do it is on Tuesday at 3 p.m. So more details to follow on that. So sorry if you were looking for a more meaningful conversation here, but I'm actually reserving it for that. But I do want to answer questions, and maybe it's a good space to talk about questions because that'll give me an idea of how to structure that session. So I know that Upasana, you spoke about, and I'm going to read that. What if the mind says that this time is actually the right time for containment and self-isolation as the cases are surging? Safety is paramount for oneself and the family. If one doesn't really have to go out for urgent work, is it at all the right time to step out of the comfort zone? My point of having this conversation is not to nudge you guys out to come out on the streets while the cases are rising. It is none of that, trust me. This decision to step out or not is going to be each one's individual decision based on risk factors they want to take, based on what they value, based on their own, people who are at home, kids, elderly, pregnant, whether, I like what Upasana said, should we even go out, what is essential, what is not. So you will have to calculate the risk and address that. Of course, for the people who have no option but to step out because they're in essential services, or they're they have to go to work because they have no other, that's the only source of income that comes in. When they don't have an option and they're anxious, that's where my role to help them deal with that anxiety will come in. I am nobody to tell you whether you should step out or stay in. I came to the clinic today, I had my reasons, and that's my value system, but I also know I'm being prudent about it. I'm not coming every day, I'm practicing all the guidelines that are there. So the sanitization, the physical distancing, how many patients I see in a day. So we all will have our own permutations, combinations. So this talk was not about let's step out of the comfort zone, go out, socialize, nothing like that. So please be mindful of that. But yes, can there be a decision tree? And we've actually come up with a fun decision tree that I will share later on. Don't take it too seriously, but again, it'll have to be your own decision. Sonu Mami, you asked what to do if the trade you are in no longer exists, at least for a year or two. And I know that's the one thing which we are not even beginning to see at this point, despite Unlock 1 it's actually gotten worse, and we don't know what the next few months also looks like, and for a lot of people their livelihoods are at stake. So I totally understand that situation, and this is where goal setting, value-based living, that okay, what factors can I control and what not. And again, if we have time to do that in that activity on Tuesday, the spheres of personal control, what is it that I can do, what is it that's beyond my control, what are my goals, what are the pathways I can achieve. Can we start looking at alternative ways in which we start somewhere and make baby steps in terms of an alternative thing. Let's say till that time you're not able to go back to that trade. So what can we do to again get that value-based, purposeful, meaningful living, which of course is also something which is able to sustain you. So again, more on that later, and I know I can't, so I'll have you reflect on where exactly your goals pursue, what values you pursue in terms of having that meaningful life, what opportunities there are, what can we grab, what's beyond our control, kind of go around in that. Um, and so I talk about self-efficacy a lot, which basically is your ability to handle things. So whatever situation comes up, I know I'll be able to take care of it. So I would want people to start focusing, and with resilience comes self-efficacy, saying, I've got this. Yep, shit has hit the fan. Things are in the biggest mess we have. What can I take charge of? So again, baby steps. What is it that I can take charge of? Start small, but keep building onto that. There were two similar questions. What if you want to be out of your comfort zone, but people around you wouldn't? So how to deal with the mess created? And this is again something which, again, when I talked about it, Manjot, you once asked this. Again, we are in a situation where our own lives, our health, the health of our family, the responsibilities we have towards, let's say for me, if there are clients I'm working with, towards them, there are so many factors and combinations one has to work with, that you'll have to find that middle ground. Do I want to come to the clinic every day? You may think I'm foolish. I'll be like, yes, I'm not doing that, but I would say that. But let's say I'm also thinking of the viral load I may carry, or my father at home who's elderly. Do I want that risk? No. So can there be a middle path? We'll have to, in this time, at least with work for me, give some, take some. I'll have to exert that 1 day or 2 days a week when I'm going to come by, make sure I take the utmost precautions. My family will have to understand that, and they have been. But am I going out and doing unnecessary random stuff? No, I'm staying home, working from home, coming to the clinic. So again, my point being, where would you want to exert? Where would you want to step back? Because at this point we have to keep in mind the sentiments, the emotions of everybody involved. And I will say a little bit of fear or I'll take that back. A little bit of concern is good to have. It doesn't mean you give caution to the wind. A little bit of concern, over cautious is better, but again, it shouldn't stop you from doing what is essential. So that's what I'm saying, drop that decision tree, which we'll talk about a little later. The last question that came by, which I'm going to address, and then we'll call it a wrap. How do you define growth? And Shrestha, you asked this, growth and satisfaction for someone who's managing multiple roles of a wife, mother, daughter, her profession, etc. And again, it's the same thing. Usually one or the other things from the family takes the priority, leaving less time and energy for the professional front. The one thing that I've been working with clients on is this concept called value-based living. So I often tell people, go back to the basics, and this is again a sneak preview into what we may be talking about on Tuesday. What is it that drives our behavior? It could be excellence, it could be family, it could be like providing for family, it's compassion, it's empathy, service to others. I want you to reflect on what drives your behavior. Based on that, you are going to respond to situations, you are going to respond to life's calling in some way or the other. Generally, I have people reflect on their lives in 4 quadrants. It could be more. Everybody has, again, generally when we look at it, it could be work, it could be relationships, it's leisure, it's personal growth and development, let's say. I want you to see, if you draw it as a bullseye, like as a dartboard, and the bullseye is the value base, like perfect, this is 10 on 10 on the life I want to lead. And further away on the dartboard is where you are right now, and that's the gap. I want you to reflect on what does it take to bridge that gap. So in the sense, it could be, whatever those, in all those 4 quadrants, where is the gap from the bullseye? What path do you need to take? What obstacles exist? And how do you go about making that change? So when it is, Shrestha, when it is roles that you're fulfilling and they are all heavy duty roles, somewhere or the other, something may get left behind, or you learn to strike that balance, saying, maybe am I overdoing one responsibility and compromising on something else? Can I bring about a balance? So when you reflect on a value-based life activity like that, and again, I would love to see if people are interested in doing that activity again in a session, in an interactive one, I'd be happy to do that. But that's something which, again, a lot of people said, I didn't even realize that we needed to dig deep into what values drive our behavior, our reason to get out of bed every morning. So it's like values exploration and cultivation in that sense. So I know what I'm trying to say in all of this is that I have always emphasized a growth mindset, and again, not in the way of, oh, you always that positive, be positive fluff, none of that. When I talk about building people or facilitating people to develop their best potential, that's what I mean about that. Can you be resilient? Can you be self-efficacious? Again, I'm not putting this on you. Do you want to be, let's say, optimistic, hopeful, driven, leading a value-based life rather than just चल रही है, कट रही है, चलते रहने दो. What is it you want? Is why I said it's going to be your own unique journey. So I will still repeat, meaningful learning, interactive, following on Tuesday. Hopefully I'm committing to Tuesday, but once you sign up on the Google document, you will be told when it is. 1 hour, take some time out, do some reflections with me, let's have some fun, and we will learn more about these concepts of value based. I don't think I can pack in a lot in 1 hour, but let's at least keep comfort zone and resilience into that activity, and let's see how it goes. And so then when we have the webinar, please conversation. I think we've all had those memes of Anarkali and that guy saying "Bas karo ye webinar." That conversation more when we kind of have that on Tuesday. No questions. Simran, like I said, I'm going to reserve your snippet of learning for that conversation with everybody else. So, but thank you for sharing that, and maybe that will find its way in a blog post that I may soon write. So, on that note, happy Friday. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Be mindful. Stay calm.